Glossary is, my twinkle is my vulva, and saber is a purple vibratory device. This is towards the end of the book, and the pussy whisperer would like all women to taste his chocolate cake is the title of the chapter. and I kind of like, you know, condensed this chapter so that it would fit in the 8 minutes. Hank and I weren't monogamous. We hadn't decided titles yet. Well, we hadn't really talked about it. My dating profile was actually still up on the internet. My subscription had a few more weeks left. Too lazy to take it down, still curious to see what might pop up. So I didn't feel guilty when Eric showed up, looking kind of dashing in the yellowish candlelight. We were in my room again. In tiny vials, he'd brought over what he called sex oils. Ylang ylang, one was called, exploiting olfaction to aid turn-on. It smelled musky, earthy, almost lewd. We'd been planning this rendezvous for a while, before Hank and I had taken off our pants, so I didn't feel guilty. This was for my education. Eric was a teacher, remember, a carnal professor. But he looked more like a sex superhero as he lifted his customary spandex shirt, body armor embossed on the breast, over his head. We flopped on the bed. He said we should freestyle cuddle, just squirm around and find new ways to fit together. The music was on. He believed in accompaniment, ambience, mood management. We'd just gone out to dinner, Thai food. He still clung to his bedroom and beyond the bedroom duality of comportment. Without a bed in his vicinity, he wasn't quite a blind person without a cane, but at the most awkward moments, reminiscent. We'd caught up. It'd been 3 months since he'd given me the saber. He told me about some syrupy crystal hard-ons he'd had, his adjectives. I told him about Hank. I'm finally dating someone, I said. He asked me if Hank had a beer can cock. A lot of women I know love the Jewish beer can, he said. I asked what he meant. He said Jewish penises have the reputation for being not so long, but fat. I envisioned Hank with a Budweiser can as a cock, and then quickly shook my head to dispel the vision. I wondered what kind of Jews Eric had been hanging out with. We walked side by side back to my apartment. He towered over me, his hip pivoted in my curve like a ball bearing in a socket. Naked, he had me on my back. We went under the hood, checking up on my orgasm gear. We worked the saber and dildo in tandem again. Get it right on the clit there, he said of my saber placement as he bobbed the pink dildo in and out. Good. He was like just the teacher of sex and taught me how to masturbate and stuff. Then he asked if I'd allow him to taste the twinkle. I thought for a while. No, I said. Pleasure reluctance, he inquired. And then he asked me how I had come to my negative conclusion. He had stumped me. I realized that I'd answered no simply out of habit. Yes, I said. Try her out. This was my first real oral examination, experimentation, exploration with possible side effects of extreme excitation. My legs quivered, but then I looked down and lost my concentration. I saw only Eric's eyes, the rest of his face disappearing below my pubic hair. From my vantage point, the unwieldy black wiry mess hovering below Eric's nose reminded me of my romantic interest, Hank's beard. I was feeling bad about Hank. He was probably hard at work, recording something in the studio while I was with a sacred whore. No orgasm, I reported. But does it feel good, Eric said, lifting his head for a second. And it did. Come to think of it, sensationally, it felt awesome. He lingered between my legs a little longer. He was thinking something. His eyes were rotating somewhere in the nether regions of my ceiling. I probably shouldn't even ask this, he said. Is he going to hang me from the ceiling? I can probably guess, he continued, but have you ever had anyone go down on your ass? I clamped my legs together. I got up on my elbows. I looked at him like he was an alien. No, I said. Really, my ass? You want to go down on my ass? I totally missed the ass-eating memo. Yeah, he said, leaning on his forearms at the foot of the bed. Wash up, soap and water. I thought about Q-tips in my orgasmic ears and figured there could be a million other untapped spots in my body that could turn me inside out with pleasure. The cooter is great, but I suppose it's not all about her. I breathed. The butt. It's the responsible thing to do. I washed up quickly, thankfully not running into Lee or Ursula in the hallway. Eric rolled me onto my stomach. He told me the butt was highly underrated. He wished men weren't so afraid of the ass, like it somehow always had to be homoerotic. There's nothing much hotter than a masculine man getting strap-on butt fucked, he said, trying to set the record straight. I breathed and breathed again. I stuffed my face into a pillow. My eyes wanted to roll back, but I took them around with me as I twisted my body to see what was happening back there. What was creating this sensation like none I'd ever had before? Flickers of feeling wound around my torso. It tickled, it hurt, it scratched. It made me want to undulate, then collapse. My butt was being enlightened. My butt was happy. My butt was in nirvana. My butt was angry I'd gone 26 years without doing this before. I wanted to send out this memo. I wanted to spam everyone's inboxes with it. I wanted everyone to get their asses gnawed on at some point. I'd be better for it. Then my phone rang. While Eric was in mid-lick, I looked at the screen. It said Hank. Hank. I hung up on Hank while I was getting my ass eaten out by a sacred whore. I felt kind of weird about that. Eric was at my side now. I helped him come. He even complimented me when I was pleasuring him. Your hand looks cute, he said, the way it's wrapped around. And he must be pretty damn healthy because his orgasm, I was pretty sure, reverberated all the way to Manhattan. On that day, it wasn't the subway rumbling underground, it was the bass of his roaring. I didn't know whether to throw a pillow over his mouth or record the sound and play it over and over again. The next morning, Lee asked me with a panicked look if everything was okay. What do you mean, I asked. It sounded like a cow was slaughtered in your room. No, I said that was just Eric getting off. I asked him if he would ever go monogamous. He said it wouldn't be fair to all the ladies. He said he was like a chocolate cake. Most men were perfunctory type desserts like Oreos. It took effort to be decadent. Every straight girl should have one of me, he said. The only problem is, there is only one of me. I was thinking, wow, he thinks he's God's gift to women. But you know what? He's probably right. He believed that women deserved every single ounce of respect and care he gave for them. He told me that he wanted me to find a man with his spirit. Someone who's slow, he said. Every woman deserves time and patience. Strokes can be infinite. Maybe I'd found that, I thought. You can't move much more slowly than Hank and me. I wanted Hank to understand the educational value, so I took him out to a glass of wine to talk about, while also hopefully taking the edge off the issue. I have to tell you the truth, I said. I was with a sacred whore last Tuesday. His brows folded forward so far they were acting like a secondary eyelid. His eyes were slits. But it wasn't romantic, I said. It's educational. My sacred whore is actually the boyfriend of the mother of masturbation. So you see, it doesn't mean anything, really. What does sacred whore mean exactly, he asked. Well, I said, he gives me options and I choose what I want. He didn't look pleased, but on some level he was accepting. What if I call him a sex surrogate? I said, is that better? That just means whore with different words, he said, doesn't it? Kind of, I said. He said he'd be okay with it until we were monogamous. But monogamy scared me. Sometimes it seemed that monogamy was invented just to corner people into cheating. If there was no monogamy, there could be no cheating. It's a construct that seemed to punish one half when the other half gets the urge, which many biologists say is inevitable. It's in our blood to pilfer outside crotches. People smoked cigarettes thinking they looked cool for a long time before doctors discovered they caused cancer. Monogamy, too, has been practiced for quite a while. I'm just saying. Hank quickly became more concerned about other things. This is so weird, he said. You're probably going to write this conversation in the book, aren't you? Right now. People will read this. They'll know that you saw a sacred whore while I was with you and I stayed with you. My friends will think I'm an idiot. I'm continuing to see a girl who has a sacred whore, you see? It's weird. Yeah, I said, it's a little different, but tell me this. Have you ever gotten your ass eaten out before?